Hello and welcome to the Fit and Free podcast. This is a podcast for women who want it all, to feel strong and confident in their bodies, as well as enjoying a sneaky mug on a Friday night. I'm an exercise physiologist and sports nutritionist, here to teach you how to achieve your body goals without food and your body controlling your life. So let's jump in. So you feel like you're doing everything right. You're strength training, you're going to Pilates, you're eating clean, you're sticking to your calorie deficit that worked before, yet your midsection is not showing the definition that you're after. Maybe now you're feeling freaking frustrated. You're like, oh my God, I am putting in all of this effort and nothing is working. You're spiraling, you're feeling confused, you're feeling overwhelmed, and you're like, I just don't know what to do anymore. Then when you come home, you see chocolate in the fridge. You're like, absolutely not. I am not having that. I am being good. I'm sticking to this calorie deficit. But you're tired, you're exhausted, and you're like, oh, fuck it, just have one. That one then turns into 3. Then you say to yourself, well, I've already had 3, might as well just eat another 3 that turns into 8. And you're like, oh, I'm just going to make up for it. I'm just going to start again tomorrow. You promise yourself that you're going to skip breakfast, you're going to not cut carbs, you're going to not add carbs to your main meals to try and make up for the damage. You beat yourself up, you feel so bad about it, and you're just like, why do I keep doing this? And the thing you guys hear is you are not the problem. Your lack of discipline and willpower, motivation is not the problem. The reason why you're stuck right now is because you are in the perfect tiny slip, complete derail, Monday reset cycle. And that's exactly what we're going to be speaking in today's episode. So let's dive in. Hello, you guys, and welcome back to another ep of the Fit and Free podcast. I have another mindset episode for you all today because we are talking deep about this at the moment inside the Fit and Free Academy because I can see it again and again and again and again and again. It's the one thing that is really holding my clients back from losing the centimeters off their stomach, looking more toned and feeling really confident in their body. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how good your strategy is. Like, we understand maintenance calories, deficit, macros, progressive overload. Like, we know we need to nail all of these things. But if we keep getting stuck in these binge restrict cycles, then of course we're not going to be successful with achieving our body composition goals because we're just going to keep self-sabotaging. Because at the end of the day, you are not the problem. Your lack of discipline, your lack of motivation is not the problem. And maybe even if you're stuck in this cycle, you might be thinking like, oh my God, it's never going to be possible for myself. You lack that self-belief. But I'm here to tell you, you are not the problem. Your approach to nutrition and exercise is the problem. And that's what we need to debunk. And that's what we need to talk about today. Because at the moment, you're stuck in that perfectionist loop. You're putting in a lot of effort. You're not meeting the expectations that you have set yourself. So therefore, you have been triggered and then you feel like you are failing. You feel like what you're doing isn't working and you're not getting the results that you want. Then what happens is you slip, you spiral, then you justify 1 turning into 3, 3 turning into 8, and then you're just stuck in this vicious loop of I'll just start again because what's the point of trying anyway if I'm already failing? And so therefore, this is what we really need to talk about today. And there's a few things that we absolutely need to normalize through a fat loss and toning journey, right? One thing that we need to set straight is that fat loss is a slow process. And a lot of people do not realize that. And why? Because we are inundated with messages of 8-week challenges. You know, people are dropping, 8 kilos in 8 weeks and having these like really fast and rapid results. But what people are really not talking about is like, yeah, cool. Like, anyone can lose fast weight on the scale, literally. Cut out carbs and you're going to drop weight on the scale. And the thing here is just because you lose weight on the scale doesn't mean it's coming from body fat. And this is where that whole notion of like fast results is really coming from. It's because, like if I cut out carbs like for 3 days, I would probably see a 3 kilo decrease in the number on the scale, right? Because when you drop carbs, your body is no longer holding on to the amount of water that is also being retained when you're eating carbohydrates. So while yes, you have lost weight on the scale, that doesn't mean that your body composition is actually going to look different. This is why when you eat more carbs or you eat more salts, the opposite happens of where we get that increase on the scale weight. So it's absolutely going to fluctuate every single day. And this is why it's really important that we need to normalize that fat loss is a slow process and it's going to take time. And this is where you have to understand that you have to remain consistent more than 3 weeks. You have to be more consistent than 8 weeks. You've got to be consistent for more than 12 weeks. And this is what a lot of people are not getting because we're so conditioned to those fast results. They think that they put in a lot of effort, they don't see the results that they want, but then they self-sabotage. And it's this self-sabotaging loop, like every 3 weeks, every 8 weeks, every insert your number is actually the real reason why people are not seeing the results that they want. People think that they're doing everything right, but if you were doing everything right, then you would be seeing results. And I'm sorry if that's hard to hear, but it's true. Because at the end of the day, changing your body composition, it's going to come down to science, like I've already said, right? In order to lose body fat, you have to create a calorie deficit. If you want that body fat to come from body fat and not weight, you have to nail your macros. You've got to be eating enough protein. You've got to be eating enough carbs. You've got to be eating enough fats and fiber. Then also you need to be strength training, because when you're in that caloric deficit, if you want it to come from body fat, you need to maintain your muscle. And the best way to do that is to be making sure you're building muscle and making sure that you're lifting heavy, applying progressive overload, and most importantly, resting. A lot of people get that wrong. They think more exercise is better, but actually, if you're not resting, then you're not going to build muscle. So again, your stomach's not going to look leaner because you're not going to be building muscle through your stomach region, right? And that's just it. So like, whilst yes, you think you're doing everything right, if you were doing everything right, you would be seeing the results that you want. And literally, it's going to be the difference between like, you know, putting in this effort, doing everything right versus actually doing the right thing. Like, my clients are coming to me with this exact problem. I'm looking at their nutrition, looking at their exercise, looking at the mindset. And I'm like, well, actually, like, whilst I applaud you for putting in so much effort, I love how motivated you are and I love how you're showing up for yourself right now. Like, this is absolutely amazing. But there's definitely some leaky gaps. There's definitely some under eating here. There's some binge restrict happening here. You're definitely doing too much exercise or not enough exercise, or what that looks like. And that's why it's really important to have an outside perspective. And that's why I'm always like telling people to invest in yourself if you're actually not getting results and you don't know actually what to do. Because like, I think about it like this. It's like, I had to get my rear shocks on my car fixed. And I was like, I'm not doing this myself. Why would I do this myself? I'm not a professional. I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, I've got no, experience with a car. So I'm like, straight to the mechanic, paid the bill, whoop, done, easy, fix, moving on. And this is what I don't understand. Like, actually I do understand. So many people not reaching out for help with the one thing that really matters the most. And that's not body composition, that is health. Because at the end of the day, like, when we're in these vicious cycles of like, we feel like we're putting in so much effort, we're essentially burning ourselves to the ground, then we're binging. Like, that is not self-respect. That is not looking after ourselves in the way that we need to. And this is what we need to get our head around. It's like, reaching out for help is not a sign of weakness. Reaching out for help is not doesn't mean that you're failing, and it doesn't mean that you're getting things wrong. It just means that you are needing a support in something that you're just not a master of yet. And that's okay. I'm also not a master in a lot of things. So yes, this is something that we absolutely need to normalize, is that it is going to take you time to get to the body that you want. And it's not going to happen in 8 weeks. It's probably not going to happen in 6 weeks. It's probably going to happen, over 6 months to a year to even longer than that, depending on what your ultimate goal is. And especially my ladies who want to be like really toned, then you do have to go through periods of building muscle. And that can feel like a slog. Like, for example, all of 2024, I ate in a surplus and at maintenance, not one fat loss phase, because it takes time. And I know that you probably don't want to hear that, but the reality is that it does. And also, like, on the other side of that, it's like, when you are doing fat loss phases, it also is going to take time, because what happens is the body adapts to the calories that you're eating. You get freaking over it, and it's really hard to stick to at a certain point. So then you do have to take breaks at maintenance so that you can maintain that weight loss without sabotaging, and then be able to go back into that fat loss to essentially reach your goal. Like, for an example, this is exactly what I'm doing right now. Is like, I was successful with fat loss at the start of the year. I dropped 7 kilos on the scale, and like, that wasn't my main measure of progress. I was measuring it through my before and after photos, and I look so different. It's crazy to how much my body composition has changed. So I'm really grateful for that building phase. But I got over it at the end. Like, when I reached April, I was like, I'm not sticking to this anymore. I had to have a level of self-honesty. I'm like, I'm not in it anymore. I'm not being intentional. So that's when I knew. I was like, I just have to take a step back. I just have to have a break. And that's exactly what I did. I've now been eating at maintenance. I've been maintaining my results over the last couple of months. And like, I'm feeling so good right now. Like, I'm feeling really strong again in the gym. Like, I did 10 chin-ups, and I'm just feeling like so balanced, so good. I know that I'm going to probably enter a fat loss phase moving closer into summer again. And I'm so okay with that. And I'm feeling really good about it. And this is it, you guys. It's like, this is not something that I'm, fixing in 8 weeks. This is something that I'm long-term planning. And this is what I want you guys to understand. We have to look at this as like, it's a long-term game. It's a long-term thing. And I know that's not what people want to hear. But at the end of the day, that's how we're going to do things in a sustainable way. The other thing that we really just need to normalize as well is like something that we really, really need to normalize and we really need to talk about is the importance of actually being intentional with spending time at maintenance calories. And this is something, again, that a lot of people don't get because everyone is always about weight loss and calorie deficits and losing weight. But like at the end of the day, sticking to a calorie deficit, like that's one thing, like that's the first thing in order you need to do to lose weight. And once you get that down pat, once you understand that, it's like, okay, cool, that's the easy bit taken care of. Then the next hardest bit is then learning how to maintain that. And this is where a lot of people get stuck in this all or nothing trap. It's like they're losing weight, they're eating in a calorie deficit, they're fine, but then they lack that understanding of then how to move to maintenance and more focus on the building muscle side of the equation, because that's how essentially you're really going to be able to get a really flat, lean, toned stomach, because you've got to go through periods of not only losing the body fat, but if you lose the body fat and you still don't look toned, then you have to build muscle. The reason why that you haven't built any muscle through your core, so therefore the midsection is not looking more toned because there's no muscle. And continuously just trying to lose body fat more is not necessarily going to help you build that muscle that you need in that area to look toned. And this is how you see people that who do look lean and who do look fit and who do look toned, because majority of the time is not spent in a calorie deficit. Majority of the time is spent either at maintenance or going through periods of building muscle and then losing fat. I always say this, a calorie deficit and losing weight should only be like a third of max of an entire year. Majority of your time needs to be at maintenance or in a calorie surplus, of course, depending on your goal. And when you don't understand that, and when you don't understand that the importance of that, you need to be shifting through the nutritional phases, is when it exacerbates the all or nothing mentality, because what people do, they spend that too long trying to lose weight on the fat loss side and not enough time on the maintaining side. Then they feel like because they've been eating in a calorie deficit and they've been in it for a really long time and they're still not seeing the results they want, then they sabotage, then they regain weight. Then they're back in this cycle of like, oh my God, I've just lost weight and I put it back on and I'm back in this cycle. And then they're just all about dieting, right? And then that becomes really vicious and it becomes really like, oh my God, I am just literally spinning my wheels, putting in all of this effort. And this is it, you guys. This is why we need to learn how to lose fat. Then we need to learn how to maintain it. And to be honest with you, a lot of my clients are coming to me stuck in this cycle. And a lot of the time I actually get them to eat at maintenance first. Because once you understand the magic of maintenance, I call it the magic of maintenance because it's just such a good place to be. Because when you understand how to maintain your weight, you get to eat so much food and you can really focus in the gym and get strong in your performance and you feel really good and you progress. That overall is also going to help your body composition, especially because it's going to set you up for a fat loss phase. You're going to build muscle so you actually look toned when you lose fat. And it's no longer this vicious cycle of, oh my God, I'm not seeing results. So you guys, I really hope that this potentially bring into your awareness the importance of working on your mindset and then also nailing your nutrition, not only through nailing your macros lens, but also making sure you're shifting through nutritional phases so that you're not spinning your wheels, like always trying to lose weight and yo-yoing and like losing weight and putting it back on. And also understanding the fact that there's a time that you're going to have to go through building muscle if you're really serious about, getting a lean toned stomach. Because yes, you absolutely need to be a low body fat percentage to look lean and toned. But if you are, at a low body fat percentage and you still look fluffy and you're not looking snatched, then it's a lack of muscle thing. And that's something that we need to normalize and we need to focus on, because at the end of the day, we do not want to be getting it to such low body fat percentages, especially as females, because it interferes with our hormones. So that's why I'm always going to be so on board with, building muscle, because muscle is the thing that makes you look fit, lean and toned, but it also is the thing that increases your metabolism. It gives you more confidence, it gives you better posture, it gives you, more endurance, and gives you so many more things than just the aesthetic, which is the most important thing, I think, at the end of the day. So you guys, thank you for being here. I appreciate you always. I know this one was short and sweet, but I look forward to chatting to you guys in the next week's episode. Bye.